In the name of God, Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer of our lives. Amen. Well, so as you can see by the new fancy duds that Marcella and I are wearing today and the big fat wreath hanging over the altar, that we have landed into the season of Advent. How did we get here so quickly? You may be asking yourself, as I am asking. It seems that only yesterday we were walking on Campo Beach in our shirt sleeves. We have a strange relationship with time, do we not? It seems to pass while we are doing other things, and often we feel as though we've missed out on days and weeks and months on end. We look at our children or our grandchildren and wonder, how is it that they have grown so quickly right before our eyes? This year in Advent at CHT, we're going to slow our roll a bit, see if we can't catch up with the clock. 2 simple words from Psalm 46 will be our guide. Be still. Be still. Perhaps you all got the postcard, a little bit of propaganda to set the stage. The season of Advent, indeed, is a time for us to slow down and to be reacquainted with the signs of God's goodness unfolding in our lives. Being still will pose a challenge for some of us. Truly, it is not for the faint of heart. It may even downright terrify us. However, for some reason, God thinks we can do this and that it will be good for our souls. So by God's grace, perhaps we can try. So, full disclosure, I am terrible at being still. My mother told me that I was always a restless soul. I squirmed out of my onesie at 8 months of age and climbed out of my crib at 12 months. And I've kept on keeping on ever since. Over the years, I've been dubbed a number of nicknames as a result of my penchant for movement. In my former parish in Massachusetts, they called me the Energizer Bunny. My colleagues in the Diocese of Long Island, where I worked for 7 years before coming here, used to call me the Bee. Apparently, it was a play on words because my last name begins with B, and I also seemed to buzz around a lot. My dearest friend in the world years ago dubbed me Mr. Itchy Britches. I know, but many a truth is told in jest. I've made my peace with the fact that I came into the world wired for action. Mostly, I hope I've used that energy for good. Still, I've come to understand that there is a shadow side to us being so compulsively on the move. Keeping fit, keeping active, being industrious, nothing wrong with that, right? But there is a way that we can keep busy that can actually begin to maim ourselves as we go along our way, leaving parts of our souls and our hearts and our lives behind us. We live frenetic, overscheduled, and yes, digitally distracted lives. Gosh, I wish I had $1 for every time someone in my life told me how busy he or she was. How's it going? Oh, busy, really busy. That's code for lots of things, is it not? The question remains, why? Why are we running so? Where are we running to? Where are we running from? And perhaps more importantly, what are we missing as we zip along our way? Many years ago, in my former parish in Massachusetts, we helped to found a ministry in Uganda called Connect Africa. They have spent the past 16 years working with families, implementing startup ventures to help create a sustainable local economy, and work with young children and adolescents to help them obtain an education. This small village in central Uganda has survived against all numbers of odds, including poverty, lack of access to potable water, and an entire generation lost from the AIDS epidemic. Thus, one of the central dynamics of Connect Africa is supporting grandmothers who are raising their grandchildren. Each year, the executive director of Connect Africa, Lynn Auerbach, visited our parish and spent a Sunday morning with us in prayer, catching us up on things happening on the ground and sharing challenges and hopes. One year, she gave us all something to think about. Her middle daughter, following her graduation from college, came to visit Lynn for several weeks in Africa. She had wanted to better understand the ministry her mom had undertaken and where she was spending her time 6 months out of the year, and what had so captured her heart and her imagination. On that visit, Lynn shared the story of how she was walking through the village one day from the local market with 2 bags of food in her hand. 3 young boys from the village came rushing up to her, as they often did. They wanted to help. So she gave 2 of them, 1 each, a bag of the groceries, and the 3rd she handed her keys to the house. As they went on their way, they talked, they shared stories. She asked them questions about their day, how they were feeling about life, and they laughed along their way. When they arrived at the house, the young boy with the keys slipped them into the lock, turned the key, and opened the door. She winked at him. He set the keys on the table. The other 2 set the bags on the table as well. She gave them each a piece of fruit and a hug, and they went on their way. She went on to say to her daughter, who was standing there, how much joy it gave these children to be a part of something and to help and to participate. But as she looked up, she saw tears streaming down her daughter's cheeks. What was it that upset her, Lynn asked. Is everything okay? And her daughter said, yes, but, well, I know this is really stupid in light of everything that's going on here in Uganda, but it's just that we never did that. We never did that growing up. And now Lynn had tears going down her cheeks. And as she reflected on the pain of that moment, her daughter's truth about what it was like growing up in Newton, Massachusetts for all those years, Lynn said, of course she was right. We never did that. I never let them help me with my bags or give them the thrill of turning the lock to the house and letting them walk in, because frankly, I was just too much in a hurry all the time. We rushed through our lives. And she turned to all of us in the church and she said, think about that. Think about how you want to live your life. Don't rush through it all and miss the joy that's right there in front of your eyes. Don't let your life pass before you. Since that day, I've added my friend Lynn Auerbach to the long cast of prophetic characters that come to us in the Advent season. The message they bring is fierce and loving, and with our best interest at heart, they say, slow down, be still, pay attention, stay awake. In Advent, we are called to wait for the second coming of Christ at the end of time, and we know neither the day nor the hour of his appearing. However, the admonition of Mark this day to look at the fig tree and notice when it's sprouting forth is not just an invitation to await the coming of God in some future date, but to watch for God every day and to expect God's coming into our lives every day. Against the hurts of this life and the uncertainty of the world in which we live, Advent insists that we spend our time expecting signs of hope and joy to come through. The prophets do not wish us to miss a one of them, be it the supermoon that I hear we will have this night, or the wonder of children or the beggar at our door, or the still loving voice of God that says to each of us, wherever we are on this journey, know that I am. Know that I am here. Be still. Be still. Amen.